Okay, so I'm back here. Now I haven't done a video in like the last day or so for ICBM and stuff, which the progress is moving forward. It's just a little slowish, etc. For this video, we're not going to be working on ICBM. I'm going to be working on a small little commission mod to make oil ore. I mean, it's not exactly the most exciting thing, but it'll get a video here for us to work on here. Hopefully the next few days here, so Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, I'll be able to make some more ICBM related videos. However, this next week is more than likely not going to have much progress as that's the first week I'm going back to class, and I suspect it's going to be a lot higher paced classes than I'm used to, so there might be a little bit less video content. So first things first, let's go ahead and get the project workspace set up. So I went ahead and I've already cloned down the project. I've already made the repository for it. It's completely empty. So what we need to do is we need to go and we need to copy one of the other mods we worked on here. I'm going to do Breadstone, because I actually know it, not Breadstone. I don't think it's been updated. We'll do Grappling Hook, because I think the scripts work for it. Apologies for the cough. Still a bit under the weather. It's actually probably the main reason I haven't been doing a lot of videos this week. Been trying to sleep off the cold or whatever I have. Anyways, we need to go into each one of these. We need to wipe out the stuff copied over. Get rid of that. Get rid of that. We're not really going to have an item. We are going to have a block. So we'll go ahead and make a blocks package here. What we're going to do is we're probably going to copy the coal ore texture, and we're just going to make it look more oil-like. Rename this to SBM Oil Ore. Let's go into the lang file real quick, get rid of the German lang, and then empty out the English lang. Leave it open in Notepad so we can get back to it. Cool, so now we need to go in the source folder, rename this to oil ore, and then delete this stuff, and we'll leave these two things alive, because actually this has some stuff in it. We'll just wipe it out real quick. Okay, we'll do that. I don't think we really even need a proxy. Ah, man, every time I do recordings, I seem to get something stuck in my throat. Can't tell if it's bad timing or what. I hit no, we'll just get rid of the proxies. Yeah, we don't really need, we'll go ahead and load this up and we'll rename this when we get into the game. Or get into the workspace here. So we go project structures, and we want to go new modular, get next, and then we want to just set the content root. Hit refresh real quick because we added a new thing and it's not going to map it right away. Here's oil ore, select that. And everything else should be set up properly. Yeah, name's good. We just need to change this to the source repository on both of these. I started having issues with the resource package again, so I'm starting to use everything as source packages. I'm not quite sure what broke, but I don't exactly have a huge amount of time to mess with it. For our dependencies, we're going to use zdeps, and then we're going to come down to our Minecraft Lite client, which is Minecraft 2, and we just want to add that mod to the list. So SBM Oil Ore, hit apply. Probably here, either next week or the week after that, we're going to do a lot of videos of just updating the single blocks mods to the newer Minecraft versions. About a third of our mods are already kind of updated, but with 1.12 coming out, we need to go through and get the rest of them updated and get ready for the 1.12 update. I'm going to try to get as many of those mods updated as possible. Considering we can't really get the big mods updated quickly, we might as well get the small mods updated quickly. Really don't need that. We need a logger, so we'll keep that. We don't need a packet handler. We don't need an instance, and we don't need a proxy. We don't need these settings. Apologies again there. Yeah, we're a little bit under the weather and probably shouldn't really be making these, but I'm just going to kind of keep with it here. So we're going to want to keep the config because we're going to want to do ore generating settings for this. but we're going to get rid of that. Of course, we don't have a proxy. We don't need this. We'll leave the init here, and we'll leave that there, because we're going to need to probably do some recipes here. The default recipe is going to be, we're going to take the oil ore, which is going to be run through a furnace to give you back an oil clump. Then you're going to take the oil clump and combine it with a bucket to get fuel, which then you can throw in generators. Of course, all this will be configurable and disableable because this is meant to be a client commission. This is the reason I'm making this, which means we're going to want to do a few things here. Let's dump this save at the bottom. It doesn't matter when you save your configuration, although we do need to store it if we're going to do that. So go config and do that. We'll load it and we'll store it locally. And then this will go, it'll do this, and then it'll do save at the end. This is actually how most of my mods work. We load the config and then we save at the last second, because you can then do config loading throughout the whole thing. You don't have to cache a whole bunch of config values. So first things first, we want to do origin. So we're going to go if configuration.get boolean generate ore. For some reason why we're probably going to do an ore generator, even though this is only items really going to be in here. Say somebody's making a hardcore questing pack and they want to give you the ore as a reward rather than it generated in the world. So category default value and then comment. This would be a category. This would be actually configuration.category general. That'd be true. And set to false to disable generation of this ore in the world. And then we just we can register the ore generator, so go to do register ore generator. And then we want to get some more generating settings too. So we're going to go like int min, int max, int branch size, int tries per, or branches per chunk. That's actually how the ore generator works. I used to think it was number of ore blocks per chunk. It's actually branches per chunk. And that's, I think, the only settings we actually need. We'll come back and do this when we do the ore generator. Next thing we need to do is make a block. So go public static block ore. Import class. And then we need to rename this too while we're at it. This will be oil ore mod. And we just need to make sure our mod ID matches. Oil ore mod. We are going to need a domain probably. Yeah, so go ahead and put a domain in here. Public static final string domain oil ore mod. That way we can then just up here go oil ore mod dot domain. So be SMB, or no, actually we just go oil ore. Yeah, we're good. We need to change the date though. So this is May 11th. And yeah, we don't need to change that. We do need to change the package, set package to that. Cool. This mod will load now, except for the logger's isn't the wrong name, but we really don't need a logger, to be honest. We're just gonna have one in here in case we ever need it, because we may need to debug the system or something. We'll figure it out. So we want to go to do recipe down here. We really aren't going to be doing anything in here, I don't think, unless we want to move our ore generation down there. Yeah, we'll move our ore generation down there. And that way we can just focus on doing the block right here. And we're not gonna make a content package for this. We're just gonna make just put it up here. I mean, there's no real point in doing anything special with this. I am gonna really quickly extend block ore just so I can come in here and take a look at what they've got in here. Yeah, I want to do the XP drop. And that's the only thing I really need to do. I need to do this as well. So grab this. And then we want to do XP drop. So I guess we're going to do that random. Rename, and then we just going to extend block. Import class. Cool. What else do we need real quick? There's not really a lot of... There's a quantity drop with bonus here. And there's a quantity drop as well here. I'm not sure which one of these I want to really mess with right now. Yeah, this all looks fine. I'm not going to deal with it at the moment. I do need to change this to... We'll give it the same XP root value as coal has. Because it's going to be like a common origin as far as I understand. So we'll just do that. That'll be fine. So this is pretty much it right there. This is going to be a really quick mod. I mean, a lot of these single block mods are meant to be quick like this to make. I actually have a list of these I still have to make. What I'm probably going to end up doing here later is I'm probably going to end up making a tutorial series, and we're just going to pick like a random mod off the list that needs to be made, and we'll just do a tutorial on it. Register block, I think I just need a name. Yep, I just need a name. So this would be oil ore. There we go, that's registered. Now we just need some textures and stuff. For this, we're just going to do this dot set texture name. And this will be oil ore dot domain plus oil ore. Don't have to really be creative with your naming conventions. They just have to work. And then this is going to be set block name. And then we just need to go into our language system here, and it'll just be, I believe, SBM Oil Ore, and then it'd be oil ore dot name, which will then equal oil ore. Yeah, not exactly complicated. We will have an item here eventually, so we'll go ahead and just set that up too. Public static item item oil. Because what you're going to do is you're going to craft it into an oil item, which is going to get crafted into your fuel bucket. We may actually need to put a fuel bucket in here as well. Maybe not. I'll figure it out here in a second. There's a couple of tricks I could pull off to make it function. We'll do our item. So we'll go item, oil, or extends item. This is literally just going to be a textured item, is what it's going to be. We don't even need a class for this. I'll show you a trick I learned a while ago. So it'll be domain. And then set texture name. Be domain again. There's quite a few modders that actually do it this way. Personally, I usually avoid it unless I'm dealing with an item like this, where there's just no point in making a class for it because there's no functionality gain. You only make classes for stuff if you need the functionality. Because you can do the same thing with this. The cool thing is, I really don't need a class for this. The only reason I have one is I want to make sure there's XP drop. If I didn't need that, I could just go new block and then do the same thing I'm doing down here. And this would be item oil, and this would be basically oil ore. Oil, nah. I gotta change that because there is going to be an item registered with the same name as this for the item lock, and if you try to register both the same, you'll conflict. That's good. We got our two items here. And we're probably going to have to come up with like a weird recipe to do here. Because I don't really want to put a bucket in here. I have a mod that already does buckets for me. And all I can do is just add a recipe so it works properly with those buckets. Because after all, the client only cares to do various things with it. We may do like a furnace recipe where you can burn oil as a furnace item real quick. Yeah, we'll put a thing down here. So go if config.get boolean furnace fuel, and this will be configuration.category general true allows oil clump to be used in a furnace as fuel. I think it's a P I need to have it there. Cool. And we didn't want that there, but that goes there. And this would be, I think it's actually game registry is how you actually do fuels. Register, not fuel handler. I could do a fuel handler, but I don't need to do one. But we'll go really quickly just take a look at that. I know there's a way to do this. Nope, there's not a way to do this. Okay. I could register a fuel handler, but that's not what I'm going to do. This would be furnace recipes dot smelting dot yeah, we just got to figure out which one of these is the one we want. I think it's this one. No, actually, it's not that one. Plan B, tile entity furnace dot I know there's a way to do this. So we got get item burn time, which then calls game registry.get fuel value. Okay, so we're gonna have to get a fuel handler no matter what we do. Okay. They must have changed it a while ago. So we want to add fuel or register fuel handler. We're just going to go new fuel handler. And we're going to go, okay, if fuel is in, or no, fuel doesn't equal null, and fuel.get item equals item oil. By the way, if you're an inner class, you can access your parent class's objects, just as a note. And then what we want to do is we want to get the burn time for coal, pretty much. Which we're going to need to go tile entity furnace, and we're going to have to go to its class file to do that. Coal has a burn time of 1060. You know what we're going to do? We're going to do half of lava. So we'll grab lava's burn value. So we'll just 10,000. We'll configure this actually. So let me do this. It'll be int fuel burn time, and we'll go configuration.get int fuel. You know, actually, we're gonna make a category for this furnace. By the way, when it comes to making configs, always use underscores instead of spaces. On Linux, it likes to freak out. I've had a few people report that issue to me. It's always a good idea to make sure you do that. We'll just, I think zeros, what is it, like, it should be like min-max. That's default value, then min-max comment. Okay. So our default value is going to be 10,000. Then our minimum is going to be 0, and of course our maximum is going to be like some ridiculously large number. I think we actually do integer max. Let's not do integer max here. Let's do like some really large number. Because I have a feeling like it'll try to actually display integer max in the config file and it'll break something. There we go. So that's configurable, so that handles that, and then you can turn this on and off if you want, so it's an optional feature. But this lets this mod function on its own without needing to work with another mod, so you don't need a refinery mod to turn stuff into fuel. You don't need all that other stuff. Still need our recipe to turn it into like something. Might add a couple other recipes in here for YOLOs here later, like being able to combine oil with coal to make a more potent fuel item. Well, we'll toy around with the concept as we go. Probably won't happen in this video though. So now we got our block, we got our item, we need to do our ore generator. I'm just going to copy the ore generator from Volts Engine. So the MC prefabs. Probably not prefabs, probably lib world generation, probably. Yep, red generator. So we want ore generator. Okay, so we want pretty much, we want to combine the ore gen replace, which has got this really, really long system in here. I'm just going to copy all three of these. And can I copy a whole package? What if it let me do that? Nope. We can make one though. And then what we can do is go like this, Control C and Control V, and it'll let us do that. Okay. This is where we're going to need our logger though. Oh, I left debug code in the engine. Oops. That's probably spamming somebody's chat like royally right now. Okay. And we just need to optimize this down so we don't have as much to worry about. Oh, crap. Okay. We do this real quick. So public static class pause. Yeah, that'll work. And then we just want to go int x, y, z. Then public pause int x, int y, int z. I forgot that the ore generator is heavily dependent on some of the core code, so we'll have to do some things here. Like we'll have to make our own version of nextInt. Actually, we don't need this. We don't need that, and we don't need that whole cluster up here, which means we don't need to know what our generator type is, which means you don't need this. That'll optimize the code down a little bit. And then we'll merge ore generator into this class, so that way we don't have to work as hard. Okay, so anytime we see something like this, we need to just replace it really quick with pause.x. And try not to mess up like we did last time where I was doing this. Okay. So we're not going to make a whole bunch of helper methods, so we're going to end up having to do things like world.getBlock, and then we're going to have to go pause.x, pause.y, and pause.z. We are going to need an equal method down here, so I have to go copy that. Okay, we don't need this. We are going to need an add direction method because I don't want to have to do this by hand. So this would be new pause xy.z. Okay, so that gets our add direction. Okay, we don't need the get and set block stuff. So we just need to copy this up here. Put this. Except this is going to be next. By the way, we're basically using the ore generator from what we did a couple videos ago. I think it's actually like maybe like 12 videos ago. It's pretty basic. Well, I think it's not basic, but it's the ore generator we're using is a Pathfinder-based ore generator. It runs in about the same amount of time as the standard Minecraft one. The only difference is this one works almost every single time you use it, where the vanilla one has a tendency to fail. Let's close a few of these while we're at it too. Okay, we're good. We are going to need to register this. I'm just going to get rid of this at the top here, because we're making basically a brand new ore generator. The only thing that was his was the vanilla thing, but technically he copied that from Minecraft, so the class really doesn't belong to him to start with. So removing it doesn't really make much of a difference. Okay, so we want to take all of this stuff and we want to copy it out of here and we want to put it up here. Get rid of our origin settings because we don't need it. Miracle that didn't crash. Should have. Oh, shoot, I deleted the wrong thing. Control C, yes. We are looking at the wrong class. Shoot. There we go. I need to close this before I start editing that again. Okay, so we want to get rid of this. We're going to allow this to be constructed without, actually, because we don't need any of this stuff, actually. So we're going to go to ore generator, and I want to copy all of this. I want to put it up here. The reason I'm doing that is a lot of this stuff needs to go away, because a lot of it we don't really need. Because we don't need the name. We don't need either one of these because these are going to be constant. We will keep track of harvesting levels and stuff, but we're going to get rid of the tooltips off of them because they're going to be pretty much static values. Okay, so I need to replace all the setting values with emptiness, so that way it'll reference the internal values. Okay, so we know exactly what block we're going to be replacing. It's going to be block.stone. So we're going to go, okay, if block equals blocks.stone, and then the block we're going to be placing is oil ore mod.block ore, and it's going to have a metadata of 0 every single time. And then we need to do this down here as well. Optimize that down pretty good. Okay, so this is no longer an override value, this is just a reference value. And same with this. Okay. Which means I actually could just throw this into here. Get rid of that. Okay, yeah, I know what the hell, we're just going to leave it that way. I was going to merge it in, and it's like I have to figure out which one of these maps to that, which isn't too hard, but I'm like, doesn't matter too much. We're missing something here. Apparently nothing important. So get rid of that. I want to say there's something we needed to register, but I'm not sure what. There's a harvesting level and there's a harvesting tool. I gotta go to the core real quick to make sure that there isn't something I failed to copy. So that'd be MC, lib, world, and then generator. So we got origin replace, which then does super this with a whole bunch of stuff. Block set harvesting level. Harvesting tool, harvesting level, and then meta. We can do that up over here. So harvesting tool would default to something. I gotta figure out what it is. It should be pickaxe is what it should be. Yeah, it's pickaxe and then it's 1. I don't really care how hard it is to harvest materials. Almost always I do it this way. Because it's like, you use a pickaxe, there's no need to use some special tool other than the pickaxe, and the harvesting level is stone. I would even let it be acceptable to use wood on this, but stone works. There's no need to have like a metal pickaxe or whatever. To be honest, we can make this configurable. Yeah, let's just do that real quick. Yeah, we'll just copy this whole line. So we'll go harvest level. I think this max is at like 4. And this will just be configuration.category.general, and this will be harvest level. Okay, that works. And of course, I'm just going to leave this pickaxe. I'm not going to let that be configurable unless somebody absolutely demands of it. But yeah, because I can't see that ever being changed. Because the number one thing I could think of you would ever change this to would be like a hammer or something. But then you would have a mod that would need that hammer in the first place, and more than likely you could just find another mod that would let you change that. Because there's mods out here that let you change harvesting levels already. I know they exist. And they're not too hard to deal with. To be honest, Voltage is probably going to get a system to let you change the harvesting level eventually. It already has the ability to change all the recipes. This all looks good. So now we just need to register our ore generator. Cool thing we kept this open, because I need to remember how the hell that works. So yes, that's our class right there. We do not have a constructor anymore. That's cool. We just get rid of this whole thing here. There we go. And we'll just rename this to Origin Oil. Okay, and then we need to actually make this up here. Because we're going to have to set some values. So we need to set these, which aren't set at all right now. We're going to go like 40, 120, 10, 40. Actually, this generator actually does do a check of number of blocks placed. And this needs to be like 80, and this one needs to be like 10. There's some good default values. They're a little high on the end, but I'll let the client figure out how he wants to deal with that stuff. Okay, so generate, and then we want to do amount per branch, and we need to come down here and just copy this line and do this. So this would be ore gen settings, and this would be amount per branch. Of course, your default's going to be whatever this was by default. That way we can change the defaults whenever we want to. Then your minimum is going to be 1, and then your maximum is going to be like 100. Actually, I'm going to set the maximum even lower than that. I don't have a lot of faith that Pathfinder I made will actually not crash the game if it is too big. Yeah, I just added the vein thing there because somebody might understand what vein means, but they might not understand what you mean by branch. So amount per chunk. And of course 1, and then your maximum is going to be like 200. And this would change this to amount per chunk. Amount of ore per chunk. 16 by 16. I have to add that part for the simple fact that I have legitimately been asked what a chunk is. Not even just once, repeatedly. So we want min gen level, and your minimum gen level, of course, is going to stay to 1, and your maximum would be 255. Starting point to generate ore. And then you just pretty much copy that entire line, and that's the same as your max, pretty much. And we just have to change this. This would be min. We'll just go min and max y. Yep, that's good. I don't think we have any more settings to do. Get rid of this stuff. We don't need that anymore. This would just be just return true, if that is it. Essentially, you only want to generate on the default world. You don't want to generate anywhere else. We're not going to do hell generation. If we do, we'll have to come up with another texture for the block and stuff, which we'll do later. We'll leave that code down there in case we ever want to mess with it. And that's it, because I mean, look, you only have 4 variables up here. There's nothing else to really change about the world generation other than that. So now it gives us an ore generator, which should function right out of the box. We shouldn't have to do anything else. Now we just need to make a texture. So we need to come up to our main folder, resources, assets. We don't have models, so I can get rid of that folder. We're going to need an item for our item oil ore. And then we're going to need a block. So let downscreen this. Remove that. Downscreen that. And then I actually don't know why I downscreen all that, because I just have to go over to pretty much one of these folders, go all the way back up to the drive, go to assets, and then I need to type in coal. Because we're going to copy the coal block texture for the item, and we're just going to reshape it real quick, and then we'll do this as well. Yeah, actually, let's rename that ore blocks texture real quick while I'm at it. Put an underscore into there. That'll make it easier to read. We're going to leave that one though, because there's like a formatting specification you have to do with that stuff. And then we just need to edit this. We can edit this in Paint. We don't need GIMP for this because there's no alpha transparency. And then what we just want to do is come through here and then just expand upon what this is. So it's got a differentiation to its texture, so you can clearly tell the difference. And it doesn't have to be beautiful here. I mean, if the client really wants something that looks nice, all he has to do is ask, and I'll go see if my texture artist has fixed his computer yet, and get him to make me a texture, which I don't know is going to happen or not. Hope it does, because I badly need texturing help and modeling help. Because even though I can sort of texture, as you can see here, I'm not exactly the best at it. I'm going to save this real quick. I'm going to open this up in GIMP, and I'm going to darken the whole tech block. Open with GIMP. Kind of want to randomize it a little bit, but I don't think it's going to work. So we want to do brightness, contrast, and I want to add a little bit of contrast to it. And bring the brightness down. Looks like crap, but oh well. I'll have my artist just make a new one here later, because it's going to have to happen. Okay, so for this one's actually going to be not as bad to work on. Because what we're just going to do is we're just going to make this more rounded. So let's grab this, grab the pencil, change the size, and just come in here and round it out. It looks like crap. Oh well. Get rid of the shininess over here, make it a little darker. That'll work. Alright, file, override, and I can close this. Discard. And this just needs to be renamed to oil ore, or this would be oil clump. Nah, it'll be fine. I just need to make sure I go down to over here and change the texture name. And then we're pretty much good to go here. I need to set the tab on this one. So set creative tab, and then we want creative tab mystic, which is where I think there should be like a tab material actually. Tab transport, yeah, materials. That's where we want to put it. And then this is already set, the block's already set with the correct tab on that. And we should be good to go. Let's go ahead and we need to change what pack we're loading up here. So we want to load up light client. Hopefully my tea's cooled down enough. It's been 40 minutes. It's been sitting here. I think these videos are going fast, and I look over at the time on here, and it's like, oh man, 40 minutes. We haven't even loaded Minecraft once. It's mod development, especially with a cold. I mean, the cold I've got's kicking me around. It's making development really hard. So I still got a lot of stuff to do here. Speaking of which, I need to go out to here, and I got to go change the Gradle properties. So this will be SBM Oil Ore, because if I don't do this, then it won't compile. Or it'll compile, but then it'll export over top of grappling hook by mistake. And we don't want that to happen. I think I need to put it out here too. Yep, here we go. Oil Ore. If I get this all set up, then dmod doesn't have to do a lot of work to make sure all this stuff is running properly. Close all this. Close that. I don't think I need to edit anything else. I do need to get rid of that. It shouldn't be in there. The rest of this looks good. There's a likelihood he'll have to update the scripts. I don't know if he's going to be able to do that though, because apparently he now has 2 jobs again, which means the likelihood of us seeing our Gradle tech is going to be really low. Hell, if I don't get more income, I might have to do what he does and get two to 3 jobs. Let's see if I can ever get hired. Speaking of which, my Discord isn't turned on. That explains why I haven't got any messages in the middle of this video. I should turn that off more often. It's been quite peaceful. Speaking of which, I've still got thing like, man, that still hasn't repaired yet. I don't know about you, but Tinker's tools take forever to regenerate. I've been sitting in the sunlight pretty much for an hour straight, waiting for that to regenerate, so I can go mine. I'm on like I think it's the Pax of Regrowth is what I'm playing. I'm doing some downtime while I try to work through this cold I've got. Because, I mean, if you've ever had a cold, it's almost impossible to do anything logical based. I mean, it's a miracle I got the item code generator programmed here recently. So we can do the same thing we do with the tiles. We can do this with items now. I think I already did a video on that. I don't remember if I uploaded it. I actually got it fully working though. Functions really well. Okay, so on the decorative tab, or not decorative, the block tab, at the bottom I should have that, which is not loading its texture properly. It's also got the wrong localization. That's because I typed this in wrong. Okay, this is SBM Oil Ore. That's, yeah, SCB, Oh, that's just named it wrong too. Single blocks mod, not single mod block. Although they both are quite valid name-wise. Okay. Yep, that matches up. Means all of our textures are going to be broken. That means if we go to the material tab as well, down at the bottom we should see our oil ore thing. And what is in front of me? Oh, looks like the multi-block's broken on a couple things again. It's just that one thing I was working on, which is the missile mech. No, it's fixed. It's fine. I guess that must have been like a load issue. They happen occasionally. So we're gonna have to make a new world for this, which I'm gonna reload real quick so we can make sure our textures are functional. And then I'll make a new world as soon as it's done loading. But the ore generator should work out of the box. I guess while that's loading, I can go show you my world I'm sitting here in. Yeah, playing on a regrowth, trying to. I'm trying to figure out a way how to automate these. I haven't quite got up to it. I'm going to make an attempt to use BuiltCraft robots. I've never used them before, but they look not too difficult to use, but they're a little tedious to work with from what I've seen. Speaking of which, I got a drop-off chest. I could just dump this stuff in here. I don't think this knows how to sort rutile or water. Yeah, the mechanism's transport sorters are still borked. I reported that bug back to him in like 1.6 where they didn't want to pull out resources out of a chest if they couldn't identify a destination for that resource. And I'm like, you know, that's kind of defeats sorting systems because sorting systems are meant to be able to sort everything. And you're going to get at some point where there's going to be an item in your sorting system that isn't going to be sortable, which is right now is rutile and water. Yeah, this is my little base I've been working on. It's on one of my buddy's servers, and then me and Grog are working on it. I'm trying to. I've automated lava, which is working, which is going to power our smeltery, which is upstairs, which then sorts down into this, and then of course we got all the essence down here, which auto-produce into materials. Run these up here real quick. I think Minecraft's almost done loading on the other screen. Yeah, I got a smelter right here, which is not automated yet. We're probably never going to automate it because of the fact we're going to be switching to mechanism machines as soon as we get enough rutile and magnesium to build stuff, because this mod pack makes a lot of the recipes a little harder than they should be. And of course, automation's the king to solving this. Oh, it's still not loaded? Ah, man. A bit tedious, is it? I'm trying to get more osmium here, too. This is the big hindrance point, is we don't have enough osmium. And there's no ores on the map, so you have to do everything via plants. So as soon as we figure out how to get the plants automated, I think we'll be gold, though. Because, I mean, just a quick run gives me a lot of that. So I think there's like 2 runs on the farm right now to get that much iron ore. And then, of course, that duplicates and then goes down into our system here. Of course, we also got blocks as well, which I got to work on getting into the sorting system. We got some processing. We're trying to do biofuel over here to power the generators, which is our power source at the moment. Although we do have steam power over here, we don't have a turbine at the moment for it. But we do have a steam power plant run off of oil outside, which we're just waiting on getting enough fuel for it to run. Getting fuel is a bit difficult. We've committed to biofuel, but of course this is just a prototype plant, which is just these couple blocks here. The rest of these are just machines that we've got stacked nearby. Eventually we'll have a much larger production plant for biofuel, which then will power more than just a couple of these. Which you can see my automated lava production is keeping those guys with lava in them. I was getting some complaints that we were running the lava out of these things. But that's right now, that's about the only thing we have powering on this base. Is Minecraft client loaded? Yes it is, cool. Oh, I forgot I need to make a world. I guess we can test the textures. Yes, I don't care if those are gone. I'll probably make a few more mods like this down the road. I like the idea of just doing a couple really small addition mods like this. So this, okay, there's our texture, which looks absolutely horrible. I might see if I can randomize the textures. We got 16 blocks of metadata to play with, and we can make them all drop the same item without much of a problem. Hey Grogger, still working on the mod. Okay, so yeah, that works. I guess we should test if it can break properly. So we want to test stone pick. That breaks too quickly. We haven't set the hardness up, so we got to do hardness on that. Let's check the texture on the actual item over here. Okay. Yeah, it looks good. We need to do the ore name for it, which won't be too hard to do. You just got to go over here and do this. So we'll just grab this, and you just have to drop it down here, and then just call it item instead of tile. And this would be oil clump is what this is. Okay, so we're good on that. We'll have to restart to get the change on that, but we're not going to test that right now. The only thing we really need to test to see if the ore actually does generate. So we want to create a new world. Or just make it creative, doesn't matter. I'm gonna just type some letters on the back of that. And why that's doing its thing, I guess I can stare around Minecraft here and watch Grogger, who's been probably trying to get my attention here. Okay. Smeltery's working.
I might need your help pulling machine or things out of the farm.
Oh, okay. I'll do that after the video.
Roger, roger.
Okay, so let's see. World's generated. Sweet. Okay, so get the instant hole item, poke a hole in the ground, and we can then take a look at things. And that should be a shovel. I'm going to have to make a texture for that here later. Let's go over here. It's a nice little mountain. Now the default settings I've set for this, we should be able to see ore generate in the sides of the mountains. I'm not seeing any at the moment. Okay, there's coal, more coal. There we go, there's our oil. Doesn't look too bad when you actually look at it. It's a little weird looking, but I'll get Morton to do a better texture on this to get this done. But that's our ore generator settings. And those are configurable. It's a little weird, we only got a small patch of it though. Oh, there's another patch over there. Okay, there's some more over there. Not too bad. It'll do the job. I don't think the client really cares too much of how this stuff works. He just kind of wants the items, so for whatever he wants to use them for. I'm gonna just call that the end of this video here, and because the recipes are gonna take me like 2 seconds to do, and yeah.